My name is Lila Bennett, and I'm 30. The night my boyfriend told me, "You're being dramatic. It's just a guy's trip." Something quiet inside me stood up, put on its coat, and left the part of me that forgave things before they even finished hurting. Logan was packing in our bedroom, like a man preparing for a tasteful apocalypse. Rolled tees, linen shirts, a new pair of loafers that squeaked when the leather flexed. Cancun. 4 days. No big deal, he'd said. Just me and the guys. Decompressing. I'd nodded in that automatic way. Women sometimes nod when they're running numbers behind their eyes. We'd been together 4 years. Engaged for 6 months. A spring wedding, penciled in, and then inked. I was practicing not caring that the timing was terrible, the venue deposit, the florist's hold, my mother's voice when she said, "Sweetheart, I just want you happy." He'd asked me to grab his phone charger from the suitcase while he showered. I lifted back a neat stack of shirts and found a brand new box of condoms, the kind we never used because I have an IUD. The air changed temperature. The shower hissed behind the door, a white noise machine for realization. I put everything back exactly the way it had been. When he came out with a towel slung low and steam stitched into his hair, I handed him the charger like I'd just rescued it from danger. He kissed my forehead. "You always save me," he said. "Always," I said. "En tastel mittel." He hummed through his playlist while he zipped the suitcase. "The guys are gonna roast on the beach," he said. "Zero phones. Minimal responsibility. You know how spotty resort Wi-Fi is." "Which resort again?" I asked. Like a woman who didn't know the answer mattered. "Oh. Den, Jared booked it." He scratched his neck. "Can't remember the name. Spanish sounding. Must narrow it down," I said lightly. He grinned. "I'll text you when we land." When he left the room, I opened my laptop with hands as steady as a surgeon's. I checked the social media of his alleged traveling companions. Jared had posted a boomerang of him grilling in his backyard. Caption, "Boys' night tomorrow, at my place." Tyler was in his sister's comments about a kindergarten recital on Saturday. Mason had shared a calendar, reminder meme about double shifts. None of them looked like men rinsing sunscreen from their palms in airport bathrooms. I clicked on Danica Chen's profile, Logan's mentor. The one whose name has gravity in our arguments. A story from 2 hours ago, out of office, turned on. Sunhat. On abit. A passport next to a boarding pass. No destination visible. I thought of the condoms and tried on the word precaution. Felt how badly it fit. Information prefers confidence. I called my cousin, Saadi, who is a flight attendant with access to things polite people don't ask for. "Technically, I can't," she said, which meant, "Of course I will. Just tell me why." "Logan's flying to Cancun tomorrow at 10. I said, "I want to make sure he gets there safe." "A beat. You want me to check if he's sitting with someone?" She translated, "Another beat. I want to make sure he gets there safe." I repeated. An hour later, she called back with a sigh shaped like a verdict. "He's on the 1000 A.M., she said. "And Lila. He's not alone." Seats 14A and 14B were booked together. Passenger next to him is Danica Chen. The room narrowed to a line and then widened again until I could see everything with astonishing clarity. I thanked Sadie. I poured water and drank it like medicine. Then I did what women accused of being dramatic always do When they're done being polite, I got organized. He had forwarded me his confirmation number weeks ago in case of emergency. I logged in and bought myself a seat, 14C. The aisle, across from where Danica would have been. Then I paid $50 to move Logan from 14A to 32E back of the plane. Middle seat. Purgatory. I felt nothing and everything, which is where strategy loves to be born. Next, I played phone roulette with beachfront hotels. By the 6th call, I hit the jackpot. "Welcome to the Palmera Azul," a honeyed voice said. "How may I assist you?" "Mr. Bennett." I closed my eyes. "Actually, there's been a mix-up," I said, modulating my tone into chiffon. "This isn't a honeymoon. Please remove that note and update the names. It's Logan Bennett and Danica Chen." "Separate?" "Of course," she said. "Should we cancel the champagne and couples massage?" I let the silence savor us both. "No," I said. "Keep the amenities. One more thing. Could I arrange a surprise delivery to their room upon arrival?" "Certainly. A cake," I said. 3 tiers, if possible. With a special message. I dictated each word slowly, like I was making a prayer. By morning, Logan was dressed in travel, casual and cologne I didn't recognize. Wheels whispering across the hardwood as he rolled his suitcase to the door. He kissed me. Eyes a little glassy, with the importance of being believed. "Try not to miss me," he said. Smiling. "Oh," I said, opening the door for him. "I'll manage." I gave him an hour's head start and drove to the airport with my own suitcase in the trunk. The one with the zipper I'd stitched back into obedience during a storm in Savannah. Airports make everyone. Honest people show you how they move through pressure. I flowed through security. Sat 2 gates down. And watched. He was there with Danica, laughing the open-mouth laugh he used to save for me. She touched his forearm like she was testing the weather. They hadn't checked the seat change yet. They looked like the kind of happy that takes what it wants and calls it fate, boarding time. At the counter, the agent scanned their passes and frowned. "Sir, you've been reassigned to 32E, she said. "Ma'am, you remain in 14B. Logan blinked. "That can't be right. We're together." "Shows here it was changed last night," the agent said. Politely, inexorable. "Middle seat. Back of the aircraft. You can request to swap on board." Danica put on a smile, edged with steel. "We'll sort it out," she said. It sounded like a sentence she'd practiced. They boarded. I waited and took the slow walk last. Like an actress who knows the mark is made of air and gravity. When I slid into 14C, Danica was already in 14B. Phone face down on her thigh. Cheeks blotched in a way. Makeup loves to blame on heat. I buckled in. A minute later, Logan appeared in the aisle next to me. Breath shallow. Eyes bright, with a child's panic in a grown man's suit. "Leela," he said, choking my name into a whisper. "What are you—" "Work thing," I said, looking straight ahead with the small, social smile of a woman who will not be made to whisper. Last-minute conference. "What are the odds?" His gaze ricocheted to Danica. Then back to me. People were watching with that polite, American curiosity that pretends to look away and doesn't. "Can we talk after we land?" he asked. Voice pitched for calm. "We can talk now," I said lightly. though I worry about the Wi-Fi in the back of the plane. A flight attendant paused. Taking a temperature. We're about to push back, she said. Please take your seats. Logan looked over his shoulder toward the long aisle. Toward 32E, and I watched him choose between comfort and audacity. He swallowed and walked away. Danica stared at the seat back in front of her, like it might bloom into a door. The plane shuddered into the reluctant momentum of takeoff. Somewhere behind us, a man cleared his throat the way people do when their lives are beginning to rearrange themselves without their consent. I kept my eyes on the horizon through the tiny oval window, where the sky looked like a lie. You could live inside forever. In my bag. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. We need to talk. This isn't what it looks like. I looked at Danica without turning my head and thought, not yet. Sweetheart, the stage lights haven't even warmed. Today. If they wanted drama, I would give them theater. The wheels kissed the runway like a guilty apology. As we taxied, the cabin did that collective exhale people do when they think the hard part is over. Logan hadn't texted again. Danica kept checking her blank screen like it owed her a different future. I asked for water I didn't need and counted my heartbeats until the seatbelt light released us all back into our performances. Logan sprang from 32E like a man surfacing from a lake too long. He tried to wait for us near the front. Hovering with that awkward entitlement of this has always worked before. The aisle jammed with bodies and bags. The plane became a slow river. By the time I stood, Danica's composure was a satin ribbon, fraying at the edges. We stepped into the stream, flowing past Logan, who smiled. A warning smile that used to charm me into believing he was just bad at timing. Leela, he said, soft enough to pass for intimacy, sharp enough to slice. Let's please not do this here. I can explain. I'd love an explanation. I answered without pausing. I'm partial to explanations that don't require math or amnesia. A woman in 14A pretended to root in her tote while she listened. The flight attendant pressed a polite hand to the tension and asked us to keep moving. We did. At the jet bridge. The airport air felt humid with stories. The corridor spat us into arrivals. That bright fishbowl where everyone reunites or tries to remember why they left. There were cameras I'd counted on local news. A cheerful crew shooting a spring break travel segment, and cameras I hadn't phones. Everywhere. Raised like offerings to the Church of Spectacle, Danica clocked the news camera first. Her spine straightened into corporate posture. Logan reached for my elbow like we were still a we. Don't touch me, I said calmly. Warm enough to be mistaken for kindness. Just answer one question on the record. Is this a guy's trip? He looked at the lenses. At me. At the exit. Leela. Stop. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing is finding condoms in your suitcase, I said. Just loud enough for the reporter to pivot. Embarrassing is a honeymoon note under Mr. Bling. And Mrs. Bennett, the reporter. A woman whose makeup had learned to fight for its life under fluorescent light. Approached with that floating smile reporters use to look harmless while they carve. We're doing a feature on spring travel, she said. Microphone, hovering like a hummingbird. Mind if I ask what's going on? Danica inhaled to speak. I beat her there. Sure, I said. My fiancé told me he was on a guy's trip, but he booked a couple's resort with his coworker. Danica. I'm just here to wish them a wonderful stay. Someone behind the camera actually gasped. Phones tilted closer. Logan's throat bobbed, as if swallowing a live thing. Okay, he said. Palms out. Okay. Let's not turn this into what I asked? Documentation. Danica slid a hand to the center of her chest, like she could steady a storm from the outside in. This is a private matter, she said. It's inappropriate to private. My laugh was almost tender. You put it on a passenger manifest. A security guard drifted nearer, ready to extinguish fire or feed on it. The reporter glanced at him, then back to me. Just to clarify, she said. The way surgeons clarify which limb. You're engaged to him. And she's his coworker? Yes. I said, no. Danica said at the same time. Logan closed his eyes like he could reboot the day. It's complicated. He tried. It's greedy. I said. Still mild. But words are slippery. Phones were everywhere. It's amazing how quickly a circle forms around human mess. It is also amazing how exact people can be with their aim when they throw judgment like confetti. Logan took one step toward me. Leela, can we just go somewhere quiet and talk? You can go somewhere. I said, talk to your conscience. I hear it's got time. Danica's lips tightened. We're adults, she announced to the world. We don't need to be shamed in public to learn lessons. You're right, I said, meeting the reporter's eyes. Public shaming is overkill. I prefer accurate labeling. The reporter blinked, recalibrating. What did you mean by honeymoon note? She asked. I tilted my head toward Logan, giving him the gift of choosing his own honesty. He stared at a point over my shoulder. The way people stare into the future when it's sprinting away. Right, I said. The resort listed their reservation as Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. I had them correct it. Separate names. They'll still enjoy the champagne. A murmur rolled through the semicircle. Someone hissed. Oof. Another whispered. Girl. Get him. A teenager in a basketball hoodie whispered to his friend. This is better than TikTok. And immediately recorded himself saying so. Danica's composure finally cracked. This is harassment, she snapped, pointing a manicured finger at the camera. You can't just... The reporter kept her tone glazed in civility. We're in a public terminal, she said. But we can stop if... Don't stop, I said. And I didn't recognize my voice for a second. It had the clean register of someone finally speaking in her own language. I want a record. People get very creative with memory when it's time to rewrite their biographies. Logan lifted his hands. The universal sign for peace or surrender. Look, he said. Leela, I should have told you the guys bailed. I didn't want you to worry. Danica, this is a work trip. Work, I echoed. Which deliverables require a honeymoon suite, the couple's massage, the box of condoms? A sound somewhere between a laugh and a groan rippled through the onlookers. The security guard decided we were not a threat to anything but dignity, and retreated. A woman with a stroller edged closer. Her voice soft. Honey, she said to me. Not unkindly. You don't need to stand here for them to see you. You already did it. I turned to her. For a second, the airport fell away. And all I could feel was the strength of a stranger who recognized the architecture of humiliation and offered me a bench to sit on. Thank you, I said. Logan's phone started vibrating, like it was trying to escape his pocket. He didn't check it. You set me up, he murmured. To me alone. You changed my seat. You called me dramatic, I said. Also to him alone. I wanted you to be close to the stage. A crew member from the news station signaled to the reporter wrap soon. The reporter nodded. Then aimed one last question. Like a lighthouse beam. What do you want now? It was the easiest answer I'd said all day. To go to my hotel. I said. To breathe. To let the facts do what facts do. I started walking. The crowd parted with the reverence we reserve for women who finally put their hands back on the wheel of their own lives. Behind me, Danica hissed something that sounded like vindictive. And Logan said, my name like it was a rope he thought might hold. I didn't turn around. At the taxi stand, the air tasted like salt and exhaust. My phone vibrated insistently. Messages cascaded. Sadie, what did you do? I'm seeing clips already. My mother's sweetheart. My friend Priya. Holy hell. Proud of you, but also are you safe? Call me. A number I didn't know. We need to talk. This isn't what it looks like. I slid into the back seat and gave the driver the name of a hotel, not theirs. As we pulled away, I watched Logan and Danica through the smeared window glass. Two small figures, in a storm they'd thought would be private weather. The reporter pivoted toward a chipper sign-off, then toward other travelers, asking about beach plans and sunscreen. The camera didn't follow me. It didn't need to. The story had already learned my name. In the hotel lobby, I asked for an early check-in and a quiet floor. The clerk took one look at my face and decided I was the kind of guest who needed a room that forgave footsteps. When I opened the door and stood in the air that had never met me before, I felt something unspool so gently I almost missed the relief. I sat on the edge of the bed and opened my phone. The airport clip was already online, posted by someone who captioned it. When guys trip means honeymoon suite. The comments were a Greek chorus of internet righteousness. Messy and merciless and, at this moment, a little on my side. I watched myself in the video calm. Measured, borderline frightening in how undramatic I'd been, and thought of how many times I'd been told to relax, to trust, to stop making things bigger than they are. A notification popped from the resort I'd called earlier. Your order has been delivered. I pictured the cake 3 tiers of confection, with words piped in buttercream that would not wash off easily. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I felt something like symmetry. My mother called again. I let it ring once more, and then answered. Hi. Mom. Leela. Her voice was the sound of every late-night worry I'd pretended not to cause. Someone sent me a video. And are you alone? Are you safe? I'm okay, I said, and found that I mostly meant it. I'm at a different hotel. I needed space. She breathed. Do you want me to come? No. I looked out at the slice of ocean, glittering like a rumor. I want you to save the date for not marrying a liar. There was a pause. And then my mother laughed. A laugh I'd only heard when she finally quit a job that had been breaking her in tiny ways for years. Consider it saved, she said. After we hung up, I texted Priya my room number, and I'm fine. Promise. Then I turned off notifications for everyone but 5 people who loved me without trying to narrate me. The phone went quiet. Like a stage, after the curtain falls, somewhere across the city, a bellhop wheeled a cake into a room registered to a story that had just lost its alibi. Somewhere else, a wife scrolled through her husband's lies and recognized the shape of an address. The ocean kept pretending it was indifferent, I drew the blackout curtains until the room felt like the inside of a held breath. In the half-dark, I could still see the little red light on the minibar, steady as a pulse. I lay back on the crisp white bedspread and let myself feel not rage, to not triumph, simply the cleanness of daylight on a truth that had been trying to stand up for weeks. If this was drama, then fine. Let the whole sky be the stage. Tomorrow, the world could argue about villains and victims. Tonight, I would sleep with the window cracked and the door locked, in a room where nothing had ever been a lie. Morning sunlight poured through the curtains like an uninvited witness. I'd barely slept, but my exhaustion felt different, cleaner, quieter, the kind that follows through on its own promises. My phone buzzed before I could reach for the remote. First, a notification flood. Airport affair goes viral, cheating confrontation at Terminal B. She caught her fiancé mid-lie. And then private messages from strangers, some kind, some cruel, all fascinated. That's the thing about truth in public. It turns into entertainment before it turns into empathy. I ignored most of them until I saw Sadie's name. Sadie girl. It's everywhere. You look terrifying. I love it. Me good. He always said I was too quiet. Sadie, also. Logan's mistress is married. Husbands in my airline group chat, losing his mind. I stared at the message, reading it twice. Me, married, Sadie. Yup. He's already asking what resort they're at. I typed Palmera Azul, room 212. Then deleted it. Then retyped it. Then hit send. By noon, the resort's name had found its way onto Twitter. Someone posted a blurry video of a bellhop wheeling in the cake I'd ordered. The caption read, "Room 212 gets a special delivery number, Cancun cheaters." The frosting message, three-tiered. Bol. Impossible to misinterpret, shone bright in HD. Congrats on ending our engagement. Enjoy your cheater's vacation. I hadn't expected the bakery to do such immaculate piping work. Within hours, screenshots spread. The internet's moral compass spun wildly between vengeance and voyeurism. Some called me an icon. Others called me unhinged. I closed the app before it decided which was worse. The hotel bar was mostly empty that evening, just a handful of solo travelers pretending to read. I sat at the counter, nursing, lime, and soda. When my phone lit up again. Unknown number. I let it ring twice before answering. Lila. Logan's voice, thin and desperate, came through like static. Please don't hang up. I said nothing. They delivered the cake. He said, "How could you?" "How could I?" I repeated. "How could you? It's not what it looks like." He said, like that phrase was a magic spell that could resurrect respect. Danica and I, this was complicated. She's separated. She's married. I said, her husband knows. He's probably packing his own suitcase right now. Silence. Then, the smallest exhale of fear. You don't understand. He said, she told me it was over with him. She lied. I said, imagine that. I hung up. By morning, the storm had grown limbs. Local gossip sites posted clips of Noah Chen Danica's husband storming through the Palmera Azul lobby, live streaming to thousands. Caption, when your wife's conference turns into a honeymoon with her boss. The comments were ruthless. Addictive. I didn't look away. Noah reached their door. 212. Knocking like thunder. The video shook with motion. Danica opened it, wearing a robe and the wrong expression for innocence. Logan appeared behind her, shirtless, hair wild. The kind of man who thinks shame is optional. Noah. She gasped. How did you... Hi? Sweetheart, he said. Calm, like a storm about to decide its category. Just dropping off divorce papers. Oh. And congratulations, you're viral. He turned to Logan, his voice steady and venomous. And you must be the homewrecker. Then to the camera. Ladies, this is what they mean by mentorship gone wrong. The crowd outside the door, hotel guests, staff. Probably half the internet audibly gasped when Danica tried to snatch the papers. Noah's voice stayed, measured. Enjoy the room. I paid for it. Might as well get my money's worth. He walked off. The live stream hit 50. 000 viewers. In minutes. I was still watching when a message popped from Priya. Oh my God. You saw this. He deserves an award. I typed back. He's getting something better than that. Freedom. Later that day, the news cycle fed itself. Clips from the airport, spliced with footage of Noah's live stream. Number. Cancun cheaters trended for 12 hours. Reporters called the resort the world's most public breakup suite. And then, the fallout began. Logan's company, a financial consultancy that sold trust-based solutions, released a statement. We are aware of the viral content involving one of our employees. He is on immediate leave pending review. Danica's firm, less diplomatic, simply deleted her profile from the staff page. I scrolled, watching the empire of half-truths they'd built collapse like a sandcastle in tidewater. For the first time in days, I laughed. Not loudly, not cruelly, just enough to taste the justice of consequence. That night, I sat on the balcony of my quiet hotel. The city hummed below, unaware of the small victory playing out above its lights. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Voice message received. Logan. Sounding wrecked. They filmed us. Leela. Everything. Danica's husband served her on live stream. My boss saw it. I'm ruined. Please. Just help me explain my side before everyone destroys me. I listened twice. Then hitdelete. When I finally went to bed, I dreamed of oceans swallowing names, of clean slates, of all the people who told me I was too much learning, what too much really looked like. The next morning, I ordered room service black coffee and papaya and opened my curtains to sunlight, so bright it felt like forgiveness. But I knew better. Forgiveness comes later. After the noise, after the reckoning. After you've stopped replaying the lies just to see where they started. For now, there was peace. And Wi-Fi strong enough to stream the morning news. The anchor smiled too brightly as she said, in today's trending story, the Cancun cheaters saga continues. The betrayed fiancé, identified as Lila Bennett, has become an online symbol of revenge done right. I sipped my coffee, almost laughing. No tears, no guilt, just the quiet satisfaction of a story whose ending, for once, belonged entirely to me. 2 days later, I woke to silence that felt staged. No vibrating phone, no notifications stacked like bad decisions. Just the low hum of the ceiling fan and the sound of waves chewing on the edge of morning. For the first time since everything detonated, I realized I wasn't waiting for anything. Not his apology. Not the world's approval. Just breath. Still. When I opened my phone, the headlines were waiting like vultures that hadn't learned when to leave. Cancun cheaters fly home early after viral scandal. Wife serves divorce papers. Live at resort. Dramatic fiancé becomes folk hero for exposing lying partner. There were memes now. Photos of me at the airport turned into templates for punchlines. Be like Lila. Check the manifest. Someone had even made merch. It's just a guy's trip, printed across tote bags in curly script. I didn't know whether to laugh or hide. By evening, the reporters had moved on. But the internet hadn't. Someone tagged me in a thread about toxic revenge. Another wrote, "She didn't just air the dirty laundry, she started a laundromat." I poured a glass of wine and thought about how truth has a way of outlasting the people who tell it. Then my phone buzzed with a name I hadn't seen in months, Nicole Chen. Danica's husband's ex-wife. Nicole, you don't know me. But thank you. I served him the papers yesterday because of you. Me, you didn't need my permission. Nicole still. Thank you. I got the house. Custody of the dog. And apparently half of his severance package. Thought you'd appreciate closure. Me, congratulations. Closure suits you. Nicole, by the way. Your cake message. Chef's kiss. I smiled. The first real one in days. Then I noticed the photo she'd attached a legal envelope sitting on a marble counter. Inside it, a handwritten note. To Lila, thanks for the evidence. You lit the match. I just made sure the right person burned. Logan tried to call that night. 3 times. Then he switched tactics and texted, "Logan, please. Just meet me once. I need to explain. Logan, I'm sorry. I was stupid. Everything's gone. My job. My apartment." She left. Logan, please. Lila. I have your ring. I can't move on until I see you. I stared at the messages until my reflection blurred in the screen. I could almost hear his voice again. Soft and rehearsed. The one that used to make me second-guess my own anger. But not this time. Me fine. Tomorrow. Known. Coffee de amor. Public place. 10 minutes. He showed up early. Hair. Longer. Eyes. Thinner. Looking like a man who had learned what consequences feel like when they stop being theoretical. He slid the velvet ring box across the table without speaking. I picked it up, opened it, and looked at the ring like it was an artifact from a museum I didn't belong in anymore. Here, he said, you deserve to have it back. Deserve has nothing to do with it. I said, closing the box, you just need to stop carrying things that aren't yours. He winced. Lila, I made a mistake. I leaned back. No. Logan, you made a series of decisions that just happened to end in daylight. He rubbed his face. I've lost everything. My job won't take me back. My name's a joke online. Do you know what that's like? Yes. I said, but the difference is, I earned my reputation. He looked at me then. Really looked. Do you ever feel guilty about how far you took it? I thought about that. About the cake. The flight. The cameras. The way the internet had turned our implosion into theater. No! I said, finally. Because I didn't take it anywhere it wasn't already headed. I just turned the lights on. He stared at the table, the space between his hands trembling. I loved you, he whispered. You loved the idea of me forgiving you. I said, Those are different hobbies. When I stood to leave, he didn't stop me, just whispered, "I wish you'd let it go." I paused at the door. "I did," I said. "That's why I'm walking away." A month later, I packed what was left of our shared life into a single storage box. My lease was ending, and the apartment had started to echo like a bad memory. I moved into a smaller place, across town, bare walls, one window, quiet neighbors, peace disguised as emptiness. Therapy helped. So did running. So did deleting half the apps that had made my pain famous. Sometimes, people still sent me clips. The airport video with cinematic music, the live stream remix that ended with fireworks, even an edited version called Dramatic Justice: The Lila Bennett Story. Each time, I'd watch for a second, then close the screen. I wasn't that woman anymore. I was someone new. Someone private. Someone who had learned that silence can be louder than a viral video. Last week, my boss called me into her office. "You've been distant," she said. "I've been healing," I replied. She nodded. "Take another week. You've earned it." So I did. I went to the coast, to a place where no one recognized me. I watched the sunset burn itself out, thinking about everything that had to collapse for me to finally see the horizon. People say revenge is sweet. They're wrong. It's heavy. But sometimes you have to carry it long enough to put it down on your own terms. Logan called once more after that. I didn't answer. He didn't leave a message. And that silence, that final absence, was better than any apology could have been. It's been 2 months since the airport. The memes are fading. The hashtags buried under newer scandals. The world moved on. And so did I. Sometimes I still hear his voice in old dreams. The one that said, "You're being dramatic." And every time, I smile. Because he was right. I was dramatic. Just dramatic enough to make the truth unforgettable.